This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. What I'm looking at today is 2020's A Dark Path, directed by Nicholas Winter. And this is not a bad movie, depending upon how you define bad movie. It's supposedly a horror film about a monster and these two people who encounter it. Judging from the poster, that's the movie. And if you judge it by that metric, it is not a good movie at all. I wasn't familiar with the work of Nicholas Winter before this movie, though after checking IMDb, I've learned that he has a pretty extensive filmography. The thing of it is, though, what is attempted in A Dark Path is clearly not what he has the power to pull off, namely a Steven Spielberg. By which I mean, with Jaws, keep in mind that originally the intention was to show that shark throughout the movie, but the mechanical shark had technical difficulties. It also looked kind of crappy in most instances. So therefore, Spielberg wisely chose to have the shark appear infrequently, though it appeared much more in the third of the movie. By that time, you could accept that it didn't look that great, and you just went with the story. Nicholas Winter tries the same thing with A Dark Path, and it's really not well done. This movie lasts an hour and 17 minutes, which is really good, by the way. I don't think many movies should last significantly more than that. So let me give you a little background on what the movie's about. A Dark Path revolves around these two sisters, and they don't get along very well. They're very different people. Well, obviously different, but in terms of their temperament, in terms of the way they respond to the world around them. They're very different. And they decide to rent a car to get to a destination. I don't recall why they're going. It's not even important, frankly, because they never arrive. But they rent a car to get to their destination. Car breaks down, and they find themselves in this forest where this creature lives. A creature with not only the ability to sabotage car tires, but also a hunger for killing. Now, it very much feels like a spider and the fly type situation, and it actually is not a bad scenario when all is said and done. The problem is, like I mentioned Spielberg earlier, the director does not show the creature until well into the third act of the movie. Now that even wouldn't be bad, but he kind of doesn't show the creature. Have you seen the poster? In case you haven't, here it is. Now, that's the clearest you will see this creature. Hell, you don't even know if that is the way this thing actually looks, because you cannot see it in the movie. This is the bizarrest decision anyone could have made, and it confuses me. And keep in mind, this is a good movie from the perspective of the way it's shot, how it was directed. The cinematography looks very much like a documentary. It has a pall to it, an overcast to it, which is really interesting. So visually, it's fine. But the thing is, it's almost as if the monster costume looks so cruddy. The director did everything he could not to show it. And even when he did show it, he was so reluctant to do so, he blurred it out. He made it so dark that you cannot make out details of this creature. And this is a problem. Now keep in mind something though. I mentioned Spielberg earlier, but there are other movies that involve creatures that aren't done very well. And for whatever reason, the director just chose to just roll with it. So the creature looks like crap, takes you out of the movie entirely, and the director just went with it. I understand the reluctance to follow that path, pardon the pun. It just will take one out of a movie. Though conversely, the way Winter handles this movie, he doesn't show you the creature. Even when you are literally looking at the creature, it's so undefined, and it's a humanoid creature, yet it's designed in such a way that you can't see it. Not really. It looks vaguely like a sleece stack from Land of the Lost, except you just can't tell. So it's not good. Again, keep in mind, this is not a bad movie. There are just some really bad choices made. And another problem is that the creature is inordinately fast at times. I mean, remarkably so, velociraptor fast at times. Though there's an earlier scene where the creature is just the slowest, most lumbering thing, as if, now, it is apparently very vicious, and it seems to like killing for reasons. The movie doesn't tell you much of anything. Though, if the movie had at least given us something interesting to look at, it wouldn't have to. Not really. Because I would have accepted that creature on its own grounds. Pardon the pun. Though it's just the idea that it shows you nothing. And it's inconsistent in just irritating ways. And this is such an odd film for me because I didn't mind it. It is watchable. It's well acted, particularly the women who are playing the sisters. They're really good. They look nothing alike, but at the same time they act in a fashion that you could buy that they're sisters. Plus, sisters don't always look alike. So the performances work. The cinematography works. It's not a bad looking movie, but it's a movie that seems afraid to be a monster movie, which is odd because there's a huge monster on the poster, and it doesn't deliver that monster, not really. So, if the poster had perhaps pictured a woman stumbling about with a flashlight, I would have been more behind it. Unfortunately, it puts its monster forward, and its monster, when it is seen, is nowhere to be seen. As I said earlier, A Dark Path is not a bad movie. It's a terrible monster movie, though, let's be clear. But it's not a bad movie, and it's certainly watchable. But it's also something I can't recommend. When I watch movies, if I can see what they could be, with a few tweaks here, a few rewrites there, I can enjoy it, even if it's not particularly good. But with A Dark Path, I see what it can be, and it just frustrates me because it wouldn't have taken much, as far as I can tell, to get it there. But for whatever reason, the director just didn't care enough to do it. It was obviously a choice not to feature the creature. It was obviously a choice to make it virtually indecipherable. And I don't mean in a cool Cthulhu Yogg-Slagan type way. I mean in a way that just visually is a blah. There were reasons for that, and I don't know what those reasons are, but I'm really curious. Though I have to say, if you like character pieces, if you like engaging actors, and the monster doesn't matter to you that much, I would check out A Dark Path. If monsters matter to you and you're into it for the creatures and the gore, do not watch this movie because you will be really, really disappointed. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.